Hello, students, and welcome to our math lesson today. Looks like we might have some snow today, so let's keep an eye on the window for possible early dismissal or a change in our schedule. Meanwhile, let's take a look at our do now. We're going to start our lesson today. Let's get a color that will show up. We're going to start our lesson today with a prompt about doing a home service project. You know I'm big on those service projects. Our objective today will be to work with the distributive property and our essential questions. What is the distributive property? How does multiplication relate to this idea of distributing? So we're going to look at the connection between multiplication and distributing. And we also want to think about how we handle those negative numbers when we distribute. Please answer the Do Now question in your team's Q3 folder. We're going to watch the video, and we've got 15 problems today and some notes. We'll answer the exit ticket in our class notebook, and the most important thing, this is how you get credit for your math work, is to show it to me. If you're having a problem with that, you can send it by email. Our exit ticket will ask, what integer rules must I use when I distribute? Again, reminding you the most important thing, show your work to the teacher. If you have not finished, let's get that done for homework. We want to go through each lesson so that we are ready to go on to that next lesson in math class. Important notes, as always, put your camera on. Respond when your name is called at the beginning, middle, and end of the period. Show your work on camera. If you're having trouble with your camera, you can send a photo to me at this email or any other questions you have. I have a big announcement in Teams about Q3 grades. I've made your grade calculation spreadsheet so you can calculate your grades and figure out how you're doing in math class. And we don't want it to be a secret. It should be very transparent to you students how you earn your grade in math class. So we're starting with our do now, which is a service project question. If you were planning a home-based service project, what would you focus on and why? Would you focus on something to make your home more beautiful, like a piece of artwork or decorating something? Would you focus on technology, improving the internet, saving for a new device, or getting better connectivity? Would you focus on a relationship project, such as building time in your schedule to spend more time with somebody else in your household, or something else that you might think would be a good service project for your home? What's a good service project to embark on, plan, and execute? And I'd like you to answer that right here. We will come back to our exit ticket, but meanwhile, let's get on to our lesson where our topic is using the distributive property. So let's get a color that will show up. Working on the distributive property. Okay, so what do we got going on here? What is this distributive property about? It states that when you're given something like this, A times the quantity, when it's in parentheses, we call it a quantity, A times the quantity of B plus C, that means that we multiply A times B to get AB, and we multiply A times C to get AC. Because B and C are added, we have an addition in the middle of our distributed result. We sometimes represent that in practice. I put an arrow or a curved line like that. Just a reminder to you that you're going to multiply A times B. In this case, we have an invisible positive sign, positive A times a negative C, so that will result in a negative AC. So we are, let's review that. We are multiplying positive A times positive B to get positive AB. We're multiplying positive A times negative C to get negative AC. That is super important to remember. The mistakes often come in how you handle your positives and negatives. So let's do a few examples together. We'll do 1 through 4. So we have 4 times x, which is going to give us 4x, and then we have plus 4 times 9, and let's simplify that to 4x plus 36. 9 times 4 is 36. Number 2, we will start out with 7 times k, and then 7 minus 7 times 3. And 7 times k is 7k. And then we have minus 7 times 3, 21, and that's our final answer. Number 3, we have negative 3 times n minus negative 3, and look, negative 3 minus times minus 8. Okay, I think the better way to actually show this to you, I'm going to use parentheses. I think that's important here. I'm going to put negative 3 in parentheses. So let's watch this again. Negative 3 times n minus negative 3 times negative 8. Okay, so we have negative 3 times n will be negative 3n. Negative 3 times negative 8 is positive 24. So the final answer here is negative 3 times plus 24, because we multiplied a negative times a negative to get that positive. Let's try that again with number 4. We have negative 2 times 5x. So negative 2 times 5x will give us negative 10x. But then negative 2 times negative 2, that portion of the expression will give us positive 4. And then that is our final answer. So I'd like you to try 1 through 15 and then come back and let's see how you did. I will do them in the meantime. So 7 times the quantity of x plus 5 is 7x plus 35. 5 times the quantity of w minus 4 is 5w minus 20. Negative 5 times the quantity of m minus 5 is negative 5m plus 25, because negative times a negative is a positive. 9 times the quantity of 2 minus a is 9 times 2 is 18 minus 9 times an invisible 1 here. We have invisible 1a, so 9 times 1, that's negative 9a. 2 times the quantity of y plus 3 is 2y plus 6. And negative 2 times the quantity of x plus 7 is negative 2x. Negative times a positive is negative 14. Okay, how did you do with that group of 6? So let's try 7, 8, and 9. Negative 7 times the quantity of 3 minus 5m. Negative 7 times 3 is negative 21. Negative 7 times negative 5 is positive 35. And we have a variable here, m. Number 8, 3 times the quantity of 2m plus 8. 3 times 2 is 6. And 3, positive 3 times positive 8 is positive 24. Now we have negative 12 times the quantity of C plus 4, so negative 12 times C is negative 12C. Negative 12 times positive 4 is a negative, I almost wrote positive, that's a negative 48. And let's work on 10, 11, and 12. Negative 2 times the quantity of 4K plus 5. Negative 2 times 4, negative 8K. Negative 2 times positive 5 is negative 10. Negative 8K plus 10 is our final answer. Negative, we have an invisible 1 here. So it's negative 1 times K for negative K. Negative 1 times negative 2 gives us a positive 2. So it's negative K plus 2. And of course, there's an invisible 1 still in front of that K in our solution. Number 12, 4 times 1. Those are both positive numbers. 4 times 1 is 4. And then positive 4 times negative 7 is negative 28. And we have our variable P. And the last 3, 9 times the quantity of 2r minus 7. 9 times 2 is 18. And we have our variable r. And then that positive 9 times negative 7 is negative 63. And we have another invisible 1. So we have negative 1 times the quantity of 5K plus 4. Negative 1 times positive 5 is negative 5K. Negative 1 times positive 4 is negative 4. And finally, we have a fraction, no problem. Let's work over here. First, we have 4/9 positive times 3/8 positive with a W. So let's look at 4/9 times 3/8, and we can simplify this. 3 divided by 3 is 1. 9 divided by 3 is 3. 4 divided by 4 is 1. 8 divided by 4 is 2. Multiplying straight across, 1 times 1 in the numerator is 1. 3 times 2 in the denominator is 6. So 4/9 times 3/8 W is 1/6 W. Now we have 4/9 times 10, second part of our distribution. And we can think of that as 10 over 1. So there's nothing I can really do to simplify that. So 4 times 10 is 40. 9 times 1 is 9. We'll leave it as an improper fraction. They're both positive, so that would be a positive 40 over 9. And 1/6 W plus 40 over 9 is our final answer. So let's go back to our exit ticket, which says, what integer rules must I use when I distribute? You must use, or I must use, the multiplication integer rules. And they are let's make our little tic-tac-toe. Okay, a positive times a positive equals a positive. A positive times a negative equals a negative. A negative times a positive equals a negative, and a negative times a negative equals a positive. So we must use the multiplication of integer rules, or the multiplication of positive and negatives, not just integers, but all numbers that are positive and negative. So remember those. And if you remember those, you'll stay out of trouble. Hey, you remember how to get really good at this? What do you need to do? You need to practice. And you know what's going to happen as you practice? You'll be great. You won't be able to help yourself. You'll be great.